Welcome to Random Bible Thoughts with Russ. Today's video is a two-part series on fear. Negative fear, part one, and positive fear will be part two within the next day or two. Let's just get right on into it. Negative fear. Abraham said, I did it because I thought there is no fear of God at all in this place, and they will kill me because of my wife. In the context of this verse, Abraham basically lied, gave a half-truth. Out of fear of being killed, he said she is my sister, and she said he is my brother. Abimelech took her. God intervened and prevented Abimelech from having relations, and God informed him in a dream that she was Abraham's wife, and he returned her to Abraham. The negative effects of fear, Abraham gave his wife to a stranger to do as he pleased with her. His fear took over instead of relying on God and his protection, as God told Abraham in Genesis 15:1. After these things, the word of the Lord came to Abraham in a vision. Fear not, Abraham, I am your shield. Your reward shall be very great. His fear had a negative impact on his faith. Fear can be faith squelching. Fear can be faith squelching. Fear can cause you to do what you may not normally do. Sarah, and here's why I say Abraham told a half-truth, is because Sarah was his half-sister. Genesis 20:12. Besides, she is indeed my sister, the daughter of my father, though not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. Now, I think there's probably some sort of laws about this, but at this time, the law hadn't been made. The law hadn't been made, so not necessarily a problem, just a half-truth. In Numbers 13, Moses sends out spies to search out the land that God had promised them. Verses 1 through 24, the spies reported that the land flows with milk and honey, and its fruit is huge. Giant fruit. But when you say, oh, I need to do a little bit of I can't think of the word now. But when you say but, you cancel out what you had just said. They also said the people are strong, fortified, and are huge giants, descendants of Anak, sons of Anak, who came from the Nephilim. In 27:29, Caleb calmed the people and said, let's take the land. We are able to overcome it. The other spies spread a negative report amongst the congregation. The fear of the spies spread about the land caused the congregation to want to go back to Egypt. 14, 1 through 4, Moses, Aaron, and others tried to convince the congregation that God was on their side. And I wrote the wrong there. That he had removed the inhabitants' defenses. Do not be afraid. 5 through 9. Long story short, they ended up wandering the desert 40 more years. Everyone over the age of 20 died in the desert and did not enter the promised land. Everyone over the age of 20 died in the desert, didn't enter the promised land. Why? Because they were afraid to. After everything God had done. I think I might be getting ahead of myself because I think I got something about that in here. So let me just continue on. After everything God had done for them, providing food, water, garments that didn't wear out, and guidance and protection, they didn't trust God to deliver the land to them. Why? Because a few spies, or maybe most of the spies, except for a few, gave a bad report on the land and instilled fear in them. They instilled fear in them. Negative fear causes discontent. When you have negative fear, you lose out, hear this, lose out on the blessings God has for you. Negative fear causes you to miss out on seeing the glory of God at work. Because of negative fear, you may die without ever seeing the plans God has for you. Negative fear induces negative thinking. Negative thinking induces a negative life. A negative life, I think, may be considered a sinful life. Why I say that is because if you're always negative, then there is no peace of Christ in you. Let's take a look in the New Testament about negative fear. Matthew 14:27. But immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, Take heart, it is I. Do not be afraid. Some context here. Jesus told his disciples to get into the boat and head to the other side while Jesus dismissed the crowds and went off to pray by himself. This was when Jesus fed the 5,000, I believe. One of the times, anyways. After some time, Jesus headed to the other side of the water, walking on the water. Yay! The boat, had been beaten by the waves. Mark 4:6-48 states that Jesus had meant to walk past them. Almost like saying, Jesus sitting there after he fed the crowds, sent his disciples, hey, go to the other side of the water. I'm going to go up here and pray for a while. Gets up and prays. Gets up, starts walking across the water, goes, I think I like this alone time. I just want to be by myself for a bit. Walking by, and they see him, and he goes, oh, man. It's not scriptural. It's just my thought on what Jesus may have thought at the time. Okay? But they saw him and thought he was a ghost. They were terrified, started crying out in fear. Peter wanted proof. Peter. Peter's the aggressive one. He wanted proof and said, if, and that's a huge word too, like but, if it is you, Lord, command me to come to you on the water. Peter stepped out of the boat and walked to Jesus. Peter saw the waves and became afraid and started sinking. Jesus saved him and said, Oh, you of little faith, why do you doubt? And they got into the boat and the seas calmed. Matthew 14:30-31. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and beginning to sink and cried out, Lord, save me. Jesus immediately, listen to that, Jesus immediately reached out his hand and took hold of him, saying to him, O ye of little faith. What does negative fear here bring? Distrust of your own eyes, believing you see what is not real. Peter walked on water to Jesus, sees the wind, or probably the effects of the wind, a large wave coming at him, and he is afraid and doubts. And what is he doing? Really? He doubts what he is doing? Really? I think I would be ecstatic to be walking on water to Jesus. And here's the thing I wanted to say. Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him. Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him. Gotcha. Peter was there. He had walked on the water all the way up to Christ. And it just sees a wave and goes, Oh Lord, save me. I don't know what he's thinking. That seems kind of weird to me. What does negative fear here bring? Distrust of your own eye. Oh, I already said that. Negative fear causes doubt that you can't do what you are being called to do, even if apparently you're already doing it. You're sitting there doing something, you go, I can't do this, but yet you are. You start becoming afraid of it, and then you fail. John 7:13. Yet for fear of the Jews, no one spoke openly of him, that is, of Jesus Christ. This is pretty clear. It was during the Feast of Booths the people were mumbling amongst themselves, but are afraid to speak out about Jesus. Why? My answer is a bit of speculation here, but the Jews were seeking out Jesus to have him killed, so maybe they thought if they spoke out, they would kill them too. Negative fear stifles the mouth and keeps you from saying what is true and correct, for being bold to speak up. Negative fear. So when fear approaches, it gets into you, and you're afraid to speak up for what is true, what is correct. It keeps you from saying, when you have fear, to speak the truth, it keeps you from what needs to be said. Now that's part, just it's just a little side note thing here. That's part of what's wrong with this world today. Part of what's wrong with this country. Those that are speaking out are on the, in my opinion, the wrong side of God's word. But the ones that are on the right side of God's word, aren't speaking out. Let's wrap this up. Review the side effects of negative fear. Negative fear causes the following: a lack of faith, doing something you wouldn't normally do, disbelief of the promise that are given to you, negative thinking, negative life, disbelief of what's right before you, doubt, not speaking up when you should. Sin, James 4:7. So whoever knows the right thing to do and fails to do it, for him it is sin. Fear keeps us from doing what is right. Jesus said in Hebrews 13:5b, I will never leave you nor forsake you. He is always with us. Negative fear. Don't let negative fear keep you from doing what is right. Don't let fear keep you from speaking up when you should. Don't let fear doubt what God can do for you. Don't let fear affect your faith. All right. Well, I guess that's it for this video. I hope you have heard something that triggers something in you. Hope this was helpful. Part 2 will be positive side effects of fear, and I'll be talking basically about the fear of the Lord, the positive side of the fear of the Lord. And so, anyways, y'all have a good evening. God bless.